Alright, everybody's been asking how to make a Flash registration form and then the backend being PHP and mySQL. So I'm going to show you how to use Flash and PHP and mySQL all together. First off, we need to set up our database. So we have a database called registration and a table called reg users. And use whatever webmin or phpMyAdmin, whatever you use to get a database set up. I'm not going to teach you how to do that. But we have 4 fields. We have a key, which is auto-incremented, have date, email, and password. And I just did all these as text for this. And if we view data, we can see that there's no data in this. So now that we have that set up, let's look at our PHP file that's on the server. Alright, one thing you'll see is I have 3 functions here. One's write to database, one's send email, and one's check email. The first one gets called is check email, and what it does is it checks and see if the email address that's being submitted already exists in the database, and if it does exist, it returns a 1. If it doesn't exist, it returns a 0. And you can see up here when we first call it, and we're passing in the user email, which you can see the 2 variables that are posts that are used, that we'll be using to pass in data from Flex or Flash to this PHP file. So, and then it also has the date for when the user signed up, and then it'll put in. So basically it'll check email. If there is an email, it returns a 1, and then it'll echo you have already registered with this email. Else it'll write to a database and then try to send email. If the email is successful, it'll tell you that. If it wasn't successful, it tells you that. And all of these 3 echoes will be displaying in our Flash application. So now let's bring up Flash Builder, and here's my GUI, simple UI that I set up. I have enter email address and 2 areas for the password and submit button. If you're using Flash CS5, you'll know how to set up whatever, UI and all that crap. I don't, because I've never used it. But I'm using Flex here, and so here's my layout. Have my text inputs display as password set to true, and I have one thing, an email validator, which when you're producing this for production, you will want a validator for every field, or validate in your ActionScript code, because you don't want any MySQL injections or escaping your PHP code when we do this. Also, security with the post. If it's critical username password stuff, you'll be wanting to use SSL, and you'll have to read on to that, but I'm just showing you how to get the backbone of this working, and we're not going to go into any of that. So basically in Flex, what we're doing is we have a trigger on our validator, which is my submit button. Trigger event's clicked, and then that causes the validation. And so we'll come down here, and this is the validation event, and this is where we're checking to make sure the passwords equal each other. If the first time they put it in equals the second time, if not, it shows your passwords do not match. If it does, we call this function pass to PHP, and we're passing in the user email and the password 1 text, which is these 2 text inputs. So here's our function down here, pass to PHP. Also, we have a validate email error handler that shows you have not entered a valid email address. So to make the call to the PHP, we have to have these imports right here: flash events, flash.net, URL loader, URL request, request method, and variables. So now we need our request, and it'll be a new request, and this is where you point it to your PHP file. And I'm using my local test server that I use for everything. If you're on MAMP or WAMP or LAMP on your local machine, use whatever you have going for you. Alright, so now since we've seen up here where I passed in the text input properties, that's what these are here, the two strings. We need to declare our variables that are being passed in our post. And if you see here, these need to match up. So I need one variable for email and one variable for password. So we want vars.email and vars.password, and they're equaling to email, which is here and here, and password, which is here and here. Alright, and now we need to define our method. So our request method, and it's a post. If not, you have get and post. So it's up to you what you use. But alright, and now we have to set our data parameter of request, and that is our UR variables of vars, which we assigned up here. And now, because we have things being echoed to us from the PHP, we need an event listener for the complete event of this URL request, and we'll call that sing complete, which you can see down here. And to initiate the request to your PHP file, we do loader.load, and what are we loading? The URL request, which has the method, the data in it. Alright, and on a successful event complete, we go down here and we want to show the user what the PHP script returned. So whether it said your email is already in the database or everything's fine, we sent your email to you. I don't know if you guys seen that, but we have our send email, which it's taking the posted email address and sending it. We have a to, subject, body, and from, and you'll set all that stuff up. But I'll have all the source code on my site, so don't worry about if you don't see it here. So alert.show, and what are we showing? We need to convert this event data from a string. So event, which is our event from the event listener, and .target.data is what's getting passed back. If you don't know, you can set a breakpoint and look and debug at what's getting sent there. So now let's try this out. We'll load this up. Alright, so enter email. We can see our validator is working. You've not entered a valid email, and it tells me what's missing. So alright, and we'll add a little more. So your passwords do not match. Fine. Alright, Mike, submit, and then it gives us our success, which is what we echoed out in our PHP. So these alerts aren't coming from Flash, it's coming from our result from our PHP file. Alright, so now what if this email is already in the database? What if we want to try it again? So we hit submit, and now you've already registered with this email. Nothing happens. So now let's check out our database again, view data, and right there we have our date, email, and password. And you've seen on the second one I tried because it's already in there and we don't go anymore on our PHP script. So hope this helps, and I'll have all the code up on my site for you guys to check out.